I will ask Arnt Eriksen to come to the podium. He's the Chief Strategy Officer, founder, creative alchemist, changemaker, marketing at heart, who will speak about purpose-driven brands in the Web3 era. And I might tell you that I spoke to him before, he likes questions, so kill it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm just going to ask a quick question first. How many of you know about Web3, crypto, and blockchain technology? Okay. How many of you are planning to use these technologies in your marketing and branding? Well, okay. Not so many. How many of you are doing things in Web3, blockchain, and crypto? 1, 2. Okay, good. Then this is going to be an interesting session because I'm going to tell you why you actually should do it. So I am a creative strategist, but I'm also what I define as a change maker. Can I get the presentation on the screen? There we go. And I have worked I worked in the industry for more than 30 years. I know, way too long. And I've been working in the Nordics, in Nordic companies and agencies. I've been working for Ogilvy. I've been working for DDB, Isobar, and other agencies around the world. And the global market is a really interesting market. When I heard about blockchain 7, 8, 9 years ago, I was like, what is that? Is that like a new workout to work on your abs? Or what the hell is blockchain? I don't get it. But of course, I realized that it has nothing to do with workout, but it has a workout for our brands. It's something that can actually make us scale the business in a completely different way. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is about how to build purpose-driven brands in the Web3 era. So why am I qualified to be on this stage? Well, as I said, I've been here for 30 years. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been working with brands, developing strategies, but also developing marketing tactics and marketing activations. I started as a creative, an art director. Then I became a creative director, and then I became an innovation officer, which meant that I had to look 2, 3 years ahead and see what's happening in the world before becoming a strategist. And the reason I do this, and I'm going to do the same formula, have everyone heard about Simon Sinek? Some of you? Yeah? So he has the golden circle. And of course, as a strategist, I need to do that practice on myself. So my why, the purpose and the reason why I exist is I want to make a positive impact on people. How do I do that? I do it by using my knowledge, my passion, and my curiosity. And what do? I transform brands that matter by creating narratives that sell. So this is my golden circle. This is the reason why I'm here. And this is what I'm hopefully is going to do to you today by making a positive impact. I'm also the author of the book called Brand Your Economics, which is timeless and tangible tools and principles to build a brand foundation and build a legacy brand. But today I'm going to go into something that I have defined as the brand T. It's the brand truth, the brand empathy, and the brand action. So what's the whole idea about T? Tea is a social event. You invite your closest friends, you serve them a cup of tea, and you start sharing stories. And if you have heard about the book Sapiens, in the book he talks about how stories or gossip was actually the foundation for a human evolution. That's how truths were established back in the days. You invited people over, you sat down, you shared stories, you shared gossips. That's how economical systems were established, how religion was established, and how economy was established. People shared stories, it became the established truth, and then it started spreading. Word of mouth happened. Now, it's all about connecting that back to okay, what does that mean for us as brands? It means that we are also sharing stories. But on contrary to how it was back in the days, there was no media back then that could fact check. There was no fake news. Everything was established based on trust between people. So trust is super important. And that's why Web3 and what's happening now with blockchain and crypto is super interesting as well, because that establishes tools that makes the truth important, because it can be fact-checked. It is on the blockchain, so it means that you cannot alter it without altering everything. So it makes it more secure, more transparent, and more safe. So the insights when it comes to what Web3 is, it's about an economy that is where we own everything. We as consumers, we as the audience, we are in the ownership era, which means that everything is decentralized. So it's more about peer-to-peer communication. It means that brands can tap directly into the audience. It's not that we are now, or we are still, but in the future, it's not going to be about the platforms that control the data. It's not about Google or Meta or Amazon. They control the data now, which means that they can advertise to us. So it's like it's a transaction that happens. However, with Web3 and with blockchain and crypto, that whole ecosystem is going to change. Because suddenly, brands connect directly and build loyalty with their audience based on the technology. And what do you need to do this? Like I said, it's all about trust. How do you create trust? Trust is created by some simple components. It's about reliability, and it's about delight. Reliability means that you need to show up, you need to be present, you need to be consistent. So when you tell your story, regardless of what platform or which tool or which technology you use, that story has to be consistent all across everywhere. In addition, when you do something that makes the audience feel special, when they feel like, wow, they are really listening to me, or I can see what is happening with the logistics or their supply chain. I can see everything because it's transparent, it's open. That establishes trust. And when you give them extra customer service, or when you go the extra mile, you delight them. So it all comes down to meeting and beating customers' expectations. Trust is not a commodity that can be bought or sold. It's a bond that needs to be nurtured and maintained. And it's also the currency, and transparency is the path to earn it. And that's why Web3 is going to make a huge difference when it comes to brands and talking to the audience, because now transparency makes it possible for you to earn it directly. And like I said, trust is based on the fact that you need to show up, be reliable, and you need to deliver. And then the second thing you need to think about is belonging. How do you create belonging? Well, you need to make an environment and stories where people feel like, wow, that resonates with me. I can feel a belonging with this brand. They say something that matters to me. And of course, the reason why people believe that what you're saying matters is because you have a purpose. You know what you stand for. You know your reason for existence. And when you have a common purpose, what happens is that you establish culture. And culture is so much more important than your competitor. Don't care about your competitor, because whatever they do is their problem. What you should be focusing on is what's happening in culture. And by tapping into culture, you can actually make a huge difference. You can change people's behavior, because culture drives behaviors, and behaviors drives culture. So the consumer today is much more independent. You can now communicate with them directly, and these new technologies is no longer restricted to the centralized platforms, because now everything is going to be more open, it's going to be decentralized, it's going to be built on transparency, it's going to be built on trust, and it's going to be built on security, because everything is going to be safe. Your data, you can choose who you want to share the data with, you can choose which brands get access to you, and that data and that transaction and that relationship is going to be owned between you and the brand, not the third-party platform. So let's discuss something about like the cultural collision that happens. Because it is now more than ever a question about how do you separate the best from the great. And that comes down to the brand truth. If you know who you are, if you know the reason why you have a brand, the reason why you have a company, that makes it so much easier to tell a story. It's defined as the brand ethos, like the essence of who you are. When you know the essence of who you are, it's so much easier to tell the story that you believe in. And when you tell something that you believe in, people will believe you. It's that easy and that simple. Imagine when you think about a brand that actually has a purpose. In this instance, you have Apple. Apple, when Steve Jobs returned to Apple, he came up with a campaign, Think Different, where he used the different change makers, the rebels, the people that challenge the status quo. That is the why of Apple. Their why is that we want to challenge the status quo. How do they do it? They do it by producing devices that makes our lives easier. And what do? They happen to make computers or they happen to make phones. But they are a really purpose-driven brand. In addition, when you think about the way they do communication, look at the competitors. They talk about features, data, gigabytes, size, whatever. Apple, they talk about the benefit. What is the benefit? Yeah, you can say hello to iPod because you can put 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's the benefit of the technology. It's not about the features, it's about the benefits. And that's what separates the purpose-driven brands from the transaction-driven brands. I don't know about you, but if you look at this image of Times Square, I get like anxiety. I feel like this is overwhelming. Like, where am I supposed to look? Where am I supposed to focus? And the fact of the matter is, when you think about how we are today, we are bombarded with more than 10,000 media impressions every single day. From the moment when we wake up until we go to bed, 10,000 brand impressions. Step back 70 years, a human being in his lifetime had 3,000. In a lifetime. 70 years now, 10,000. What does that tell us? It means that everything that is happening, we need to be able to separate the good from the great.
If the first 50 years were an experiment,
to prove that a business could be responsible and successful.
Irreverent.
Seriously, guys?
And reverential.
quiet,
and louder than hell.
There's no planet B.
Turns out, it's not just possible, it's profitable.
So it's time for a new experiment, because the problems we face are more dire than ever.
Like, how the f is this sustainable, for God's sake?
What's at stake is this enormous commonwealth.
So what's next?
what's next is resilience.
What's next is turning capitalism on its head and putting our money where our mouth is.
What's next is simple. It's human-powered, and it's finding the joy in doing difficult things.
You know, you think life is just one big playground, and I went, well, yeah, it is.
What's next is unstoppable.
Motivation. Right.
There is a proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together.
Not a lot of people understand how serious we are about saving this planet. I'm dead serious.
So Patagonia is definitely a purpose-driven brand. And the interesting thing now with Web3 is that, you know, with this decentralized platforms, it means that the ownership belongs to the audience. The ownership belongs with the consumer. And Patagonia has understood that. Like, the fact what they did last year of just saying, like, I'm going to give away the company, now is going to belong to the planet. We're going to do everything we own, everything we generate, everything is going to go back to the planet because we care about the planet. And he does it not because it's fancy. He doesn't do it because it's like, oh, that's going to make me look good. He does it because he believes it. And when he believes in it, then people believe in it. And then suddenly you have a story that people buy. And the fact is, like, you want to have brands that you believe in. You want to have brands that are just more than just walking and talking the talk. You want brands that actually walk the walk. You want brands that just does it. And that comes down to having brand empathy. Brand empathy comes down to understanding who your consumer is, what are the pain points, what are their wants, what are their needs, what do they expect from you, and then by understanding that, yes, you have empathy for them, you understand their situation, especially now after COVID, which is something that I know that we try to forget, but still, it happened. With COVID, brands needed to kind of like tap in and then build on the brand ethos that they have, show that they have empathy for their consumers. One brand that did that is IKEA. IKEA did something amazing. When all their employees were stuck at home being restricted, they decided, like, let's do something positive for them, but also show the world that we have empathy for what's going on. It's a very emotional video, kind of like it resonates. But the fact is, it's not just about understanding your customers' struggles, but also guiding them towards a solution. So again, if you know what your brand ethos is, and you have empathy, you show them the solution, like this is the way. And then the last component is, of course, brand action. And brand action means that you know who you are, you know who your audience is, and you empathize with them. You say that you display clearly that you understand what they're going through, and then you take action by doing stuff that makes an impact for them. One brand that did that is Airbnb. So Airbnb has this, their why is that they want to make sure that you can belong anywhere. And how do they do that? Through providing homes available for others so that they can rent and experience places away from home. So they believe in that vision, they believe in that purpose. So when the war in Ukraine happened, what did they do? They asked themselves, what is our purpose? To make belonging. Okay, so we're going to now help 100,000 refugees to get homes in the countries around Ukraine and make that available for them. In addition, they also encouraged everyone on the platform to rent homes in Ukraine, not because they wanted to stay in Ukraine, but actually to support the people living in Ukraine because it was hard to transport money into the country. So by renting homes in Ukraine, you actually gave money to the people that had homes available. So it was a really smart way of helping in the best way possible. Another brand that lives up to a very purpose-driven mission is Stella McCartney. Everything they do, even though it's a fashion brand, and the reason I bring it in here is like it's not just about the simple things, but it's also about fashion and everything. She invests so much time and so much money in developing different fabrics, fake leather that is built on fungus, mycelium. She uses sustainable production methods to make sure that she does things for the better of the planet. Yes, it's going to look beautiful. Yes, it's going to be fashionable, but it's not going to make a damaging impact on the world. So she also lives up to the brand purpose. So it's important to build a culture of empathy with your customers and make sure that you understand where they come from, but then take action when you do stuff. And it also comes down to, like now we talked about the whole strategy of things. Like, yeah, we have the brand truth, we have the brand empathy, and we have the brand action. Great, that's the strategy. That's what we need to think about. That's going to bring us from point A to point B. But then it also comes down to like, what is the purpose of a strategy? The purpose of a strategy is to generate ideas. So ideas is like, that's where creativity comes in. That's like identifying like, yes, we have A, and that's going to solve B. You see things in a different perspective. You see things in different ways. But the fact of the matter is, when you understand what the purpose of an idea is, it is that it's a thought that has consequences. So when you create ideas based on your strategy, you will come up with ideas that will actually have a consequence, because it's going to drive a change. It's going to drive and make a difference for people around the world. And the last example that I have is another brand that has done a lot for their consumers and for their audiences, and that's Nike. I don't know if you've heard about the story of Nike, but the CEO, he was speaking at an event similar to this, and he was like asking questions. How many of you are runners? And then like a lot of people in the room like really lifted their hands. Okay, how many of you, like he asked a bunch of questions, then the final question is like, how many of you wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, it's raining, it's cold, it's terrible weather, you still put on your gear and you go outside and run? And then like 10, 15 people in the room lifted their hand. It's like, when you are out running in that cold morning, we're the guy underneath the lamppost cheering you on, because Nike tells you to just do it. So it's not about, the purpose is not to be for the winners, it's for the people that actually do what they want to do, what they believe in. They want to do the things that makes their life feel better.
If we show emotion, we're called dramatic. If we want to play against men, we're nuts. And if we dream of equal opportunity, delusional. When we stand for something, we're unhinged.
It's super, it's gonna need to calm down.
When we're too good, there's something wrong with us. And if we get angry, we're hysterical, irrational, or just being crazy. But a woman running a marathon was crazy.
Officials tried to pull her off the course.
A woman boxing was crazy. A woman dunking? Crazy. Coaching an NBA team? Crazy. A woman competing in a hijab, changing her sport, landing a double cork 1080, or winning 23 Grand Slams, having a baby, and then coming back for more? Crazy, 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 and crazy. So if they want to call you crazy, fine. Show them what crazy can do.
Welcome to the Artifact ecosystem. Today, Artifact together with Nike Crypto Kicks introduces the future of sneakers. Starting with the Artifact Nike Dunk Genesis powered by DreamOS and Skin Vial Tech. Skin Vials allow you to change the look of the Artifact Nike Dunk Genesis or any compatible sneakers with limited edition skins. Collect, evolve, and breed sneaker skins created by legendary collaborators, artists, and the Artifact community. Load up thousands of skins to a single pair of sneakers. Today, we start with Evo X, Artifact's first skin vial collection featuring 8 Clone X DNA-based evolutive skins. Evo X powered skins vials allow you to evolve your Artifact Nike Dunk Genesis sneaker and choose drip upgrades and powers. Which path will you choose for your evolutive skin as you journey into the Artifact ecosystem and unlock the future? The future is now. Artifact.
Nike is a perfect example of a brand that actually embraces Web3 technology full on. They did it early, they are way ahead of their competitors. And the fact is that they are now building an ecosystem of different Web3 activations across all platforms. They are in Fortnite, they are in different gaming platforms, they are developing Web3 platforms. This is swoosh.nike.com, where they focus on bridging the gap between the physical space and the digital space. And they are the perfect example of the T principle. They understand their brand truth, they understand where they're coming from, but they also understand who their customer is. So they have empathy for what's going on. They have empathy for the fact that the younger generations, the Gen Alphas and the Gen Zs, they want to be part of that digital transformation. They want to be part of that digital ecosystem. So they have now transformed and made sure that you can actually, when you buy a sneaker in the store, you can get an NFT. That means that you have proof of ownership that you own the sneaker, and then you can have an avatar online where you can then change the skin and do all these kind of crazy things with the different application that Nike has. And then, of course, they take action because they do. Everything they talk about, everything they display, and everything they show is about how they take action for what they do in the industry, which is a brilliant example. Because again, Web3, crypto, and blockchain are the tools that will amplify your brand story. Because it is based on transparency. It's based on security, which again is based on trust. So if you have the trust in the foundation, that means that you as the brand can tell the story, and the audience and your customers will have every reason to believe you, because they know that it cannot be faked, and that's the good thing. So why does all of this matter? Well, it matters because, again, Web3, crypto, and blockchain, that's the platforms for the future. It is decentralized, which means that the ownership is with you. The ownership is with the brands, and it's with the audience. It means that you can communicate peer-to-peer, create loyalty, create activations. You can invite the audience to be part of the journey. You can invite them to co-create together with you. Suddenly, the brand ambassadorship is on steroids, because suddenly I can own part of Nike or any other kind of brand by buying their products, by getting access to their ecosystem, to their brand story. I suddenly feel a much stronger belonging because it's based on trust. So the whole concept of T, brand truth, brand empathy, and brand action, is the strategy you need to think about when you move into the Web3 age. So just to summarize quickly, because I see that my time is running out. I have much more to say, but that's the way it is. Number one, listen. Deeply understand the audience. Number two, know your truth. Know who you are, know what you stand for, your purpose, your position, and your personality, your ethos. Have empathy for the realities of the situation. Engage, co-create, be transparent, and display empathy. Take action. Not just use fancy jargon. Don't be in the Web3 space because that's where everyone else is and you want to be cool. Do it based on the real purpose and the value of being on these platforms, because it is secure, it's transparent, and it's safe. And most importantly, have velocity. Velocity comes down to having speed and direction, so have that mindset. Again, define the direction, be assertive, and be determined. Fail fast, forward. It is okay because it is an investment. The time is now, this is the age, just do it. Because people feel first, they think second. Think about that. Whatever you do, whenever you do something, whenever you make a decision, the first thing that happens is that you feel something. And then you think, and then you do. So when you create your marketing strategies, when you create your marketing activations, think about it. How am I going to make someone feel something before they take action? And ask yourself, what if? I mean, the worst thing we can do is just to say like, I don't care. It's not for me. I know my products. I'm just going to focus on selling what I'm selling. No, be bold, be brave, embrace what's coming. And, you know, if you do it the right way, if you do it for the right reasons, if you build it on your T, you share the gossip, you invite the audience to be part of your journey, magic is going to happen. And don't worry about it. You got this. So just be curious, be passionate, and focus on doing the best, not for yourself, but for them. If you want to read the book, it's online. You can just scan that QR code, or you can go to bit.ly/ArntBook. That's the only plug I'm going to do. I'm not going to say anything else. And that's it. Thank you.